So if I find that I have some intellectual property within the business, what's the first thing that I should do in order to try and think about how to protect it?
Well, I think there are certain steps you need to take practically in terms of making sure that what you have hasn't been done before, for example. There's no point wasting your money seeking rights when actually you find out 2 years later, a few £1,000s down the road, that that is something you've done before. I think, but then talking to professionals help. I'm bound to say that, I guess. But nevertheless, I think it's one of those things where it's a legal process. And so trying to go through that with someone who understands the system, a bit like a sister would for any sort of conveyancing or will writing, has some benefit. But nevertheless, when you get into nuts and bolts of actually applying for these rights, the process is incredibly straightforward. You ask for certain protections, certain things, and some intellectual property office, maybe in the UK, maybe abroad, decides against their own criteria whether you can have that right or not. And it's not a simple yes or no, it's a negotiation. So they might come back with objections, you then argue it. And that tends to be where we come in a bit more in terms of that argument stage. But ultimately, hopefully, you come to a negotiated agreement where they offer you granted patent or a granted IP right of a scope that is useful to you and your company. And that's when the value comes through, and that's when you get your granted right and you go and you get that protection that it affords. So although lots of talk about complexity about intellectual property, fundamentally it's very, very simple.